Hi folks, good morning. Last night as I was talking to a coworker and a friend, we were discussing how great green hell is, and he brought it up to me that the metalworking confused him a little bit, so I thought I'd put a video together and kind of go over how metal crafting works and give it a visual aspect rather than just some other text tutorial. So we're going to be launching a survival mode here, and hopefully I can help you guys learn something along the way. So starting up survival here. First thing when it comes to metalworking, and for me personally, any kind of base building, is I always like to set up right near a decent body of water. Water is, I mean, it's common sense. Water is essential to survival. But in this game specifically, water allows you to take mud from the river. Water gives you the options to fish. Water is also a great defensive mechanic. Hostile tribes and big cats that like to ambush you, the jaguars and the pumas, they cannot swim, whereas you can. So if anybody wants to pick this game up and try giving it a go, I definitely recommend setting up some of your safe spaces closer to bodies of water. Anyway, back to the metal building here. I gotta find myself a rock, get some tools, and then we'll start crack-a-lacking. There's one here. Get ourselves a stone blade right away. Now the stone blade is important. I'll come back to it again later. But when it comes to making molds to actually forge metal tools and weapons, you need the base stone copy of that tool to actually form the mold. So we'll go over that once I get some molds made, but that's just a note for the future. So for those first starting the game out, you can build stuff in the game as far as tools and weapons go without quote-unquote knowing the recipes in your journal. When it comes to structures though, you do need to find something that triggers the knowledge. So to get the whole metalworking thing started, just walk up to the river, take some mud, and voila, there's your notebook entries. Mud mixer is the first one you're going to want to get. We'll put this here so it's a little bit out of the way. The mud mixer allows you to make mud bricks, and then you're going to use those to not only build the metalworking stations, but that's also how you're going to get the molds you need to make your tools and stuff later on. Okay, mud mixer, step one. Can probably place the frames for the metalworking stuff now. Okay, I can place one. Charcoal furnace. Gonna be step one anyway. You're gonna want to place one of these because that will turn wood into charcoal, and the charcoal turns into either A, extra campfire ash, which we'll get to in a minute. You need that for the mud mixer, or B, the charcoal is what's going to fuel your furnaces and actually craft metal tools. So we have our mud mixing box. You take river mud from the water, you place it in the box twice. You burned out a campfire, you get campfire ash and charcoal. Charcoal can be harvested to make more campfire ash if needed. It can also be eaten to cure food poisoning, but there's going to be some other side effects with that. Put your campfire ash in. Now you need to soften it up. You can either wait for it to rain, which usually one rainfall will be more than enough to do what you need to do, or if you make a coconut bidon, you can fill it up, then you can drag and dump it. You need to do that about 4 times. Okay, once that's done, gives you the option to mix it up. This will stay this way even if you go and take care of some other things first. But whenever you're ready, just mix it up. And you'll get left with a stack of bricks. Now we'll show this again later, but you can now harvest a brick to get 3 different molds. which you can then use to later craft your tools and weapons, but we need some other crafting stations first before we get there. So we're going to use these mud bricks to build up our furnace. Only takes 3. It's very cheap. It's great. It's wonderful. And now we have the furnace made. You can fill it up with wood or charcoal, but for the furnace I recommend wood. Planks are best, but you can also click and drag sticks. And we'll just keep tossing these in here until it's full up. Okay, once you get your furnace full, it's going to ask for one last mud brick. This is something that you will have to replace every time you cook in the furnace. It's what just closes it up so that it can trap the heat in and burn down that wood. So we'll grab our last one here, close the door, and then just like a campfire, you just start yourself an ember. And then you take it to the furnace to light it up and then just give it some time. Okay, easiest pickaxe to make. 1 stick, 1 rope, 1 stone blade. Put it together. Voila. You've moved on to the Iron Age. Keep an eyes up, looking for any iron deposits. Here we go. This one is empty, but this is what they look like. They have the red crack in the wall. Empty again. There we go. Okay, so to actually strike iron, my only complaint about this process is you have to swing and find a way to get the pickaxe to actually strike the iron vein. So it might take a couple swings. There we go. Okay, so the furnace is done. We can harvest that when we're ready to actually start smithing with metal. We can now make forges. Typically I run 2 forges to 1 furnace. I think that can hold up pretty well with their cooking times. It stays pretty effective in the charcoal to production ratio. Okay, we have all of our crafting stations complete. We have the sun, we have mud bricks ready to go. Let's get smelting. The forges, cannot load them with wood. This doesn't work. You need charcoal. So again, you make the charcoal in here or any burnt out campfire. I suppose if you didn't want to go through the process of making one of these furnaces, you could build a shelter, set up a bunch of campfires, and just let them burn out under there. That would work out just fine too. It's just a lot more sticks you have to burn through. Once your charcoal is collected, come over here, you click and drag them, and you can see the icon filling up there, showing you how full it is. Once these get started, they do not stop until they're out of fuel. So in order to start crafting your metal tools, your metal weapons, your metal armor, you need the metal itself to actually craft into those things. So once you're loaded up on the forge, to get metal, you can either put iron ore down below, or you can put an empty can. Both of them will smelt down into the same thing. They'll give you a piece of metal to work with, which once it's complete, you can then combine with molds to forge the items you want. It's just like a campfire. You can start these up by creating an ember. Get yourself some dry leaves or some bird nests. Once Jungle Man gets his potty mouth out of the way, light it up. With these forges, like I said before, once they start going, you can't stop them until they run out of fuel. But if you are strongly committing to your metal crafting, you can reload them as they burn to keep them going even longer. So if you're undertaking a massive project, maybe you're playing co-op with some friends, if you have some extra charcoal in your backpack, feel free to toss it in as it's burning and keep these things full. They will continue to burn as long as you feed them. So to begin making your molds, you need to have a mud brick available, and then you harvest it, and you will get these items, empty molds. So 1 brick translates to 3 molds. On their own, you can't really do anything with them. You need the proper tools or the proper weapon to actually craft them into the metal versions. Perfect. 2 melted iron ore. Okay, let's show you guys how to make some fun toys, huh? So, first up, let's look at making a metal blade. You open your crafting section, grab yourself an empty mold. To make any type of metal object, you can see right off the bat that it only takes 3 different items up here. You need your mold, you need your melted ore, and then you need the final piece, which will dictate what you are looking to make. So with what I have available now, let's start with the tools. I take my stone blade, place it on here with everything else. I now have a blade mold. Craft that, it'll press it together. In your inventory now, you see I have the mold. You bring that back over to the forge and place it in the bottom, and it will now start cooking a metal blade. Likewise, same process, you take the mold, you take the melted iron, now you take your stone axe mold. This will allow us to craft a metal axe head. Like the blade, we're going to toss that in the oven, the forge, and then we're going to give it just a little bit more time to cook. So once your molds are done cooking, you pick them back up. They will go back into your inventory. It looks like we're a little full there. That's okay. Take the completed mold, harvest it, and here you are. There is your metal axe. You can also harvest it straight from the ground. Boom, there's your metal blade. Okay, like every other metal tool, you start with your mold, start with your melted iron, and now to make metal arrowheads, you just place a regular arrow on with everything else, craft it. There's your metal arrow mold. Once you get crafting, or once you actually build the crafting stations to make some metal tools, if you check out the hand and stick icon in your journal here and scroll all the way to the back, these are the directions the game gives you to try to teach you how to actually make these things. It took me a little bit to figure it out. I didn't think they were the most clear, so I'm hoping that this video will ultimately clarify it for you. But if you ever need a refresher, this is where you would find the game's step by step. Okay, once you have a minimum of 3 metal armor casts, to craft your piece of metal armor, you need 1 banana leaf, 3 of the metal cast pieces, and then 2 ropes. That's how you're going to be able to craft your metal armor. If you were to replace these armor casts with sticks or bones, you could also craft stick and bone armor respectively. They're just not quite as durable as the metal is. Now that we have some sun, let's go through one final recap, teach you guys how to go about your metalworking lives. First thing you want to build is this mud brick maker in the journal that's under the mud crafting tab. Mud mixer, excuse me. Be the first thing on the first page. Once you build that up, you want to build near water. Take the mud from the river, lake, whatever it is. Drop that in here twice, and then it's going to ask you for some campfire ash. Again, you can just burn out a regular campfire. That'll drop one for you along with some charcoal. You can harvest the charcoal to make more if needed, or you can go straight into crafting one of these furnaces right away, load it up with wood, Sticks and small sticks work fine, but the planks fill it up the most and they work best. Once that's mixed, you can harvest your mud brick. That will give you your empty molds. The molds that we've gone through today, again, you need your stone tools to be able to actually craft them. Stone blade, empty mold, and a piece of metal gets you a metal blade. You do the same thing with a stone axe. That'll get you the mold to make the metal axe. If you do it with a regular arrow, that will get you the mold for metal arrows. And then lastly, if you just do it with a regular stick, that gets you the mold for metal armor. Once those molds are prepped, you place them into the forges. You just place them in the bottom slot and they'll start cooking. Again, the forges can only be loaded with charcoal, so keep that in mind. And then they will not stop burning until they run out of fuel, but you can reload them as they go to keep them going continuously again. Once you have your metal casts made, the tools themselves are fairly easy. Long stick, rope, metal blade is your metal spear. Get rid of the long stick, just the rope and the blade cast itself, that'll make you your actual metal blade. You can then take that metal blade and turn it into a metal pickaxe if you want to go harvest some more iron. And remember, when you do have your pickaxe, you swing at the iron nodes, which are again those red crevices within cave walls. You need to be able to maneuver your swing so that the pickaxe is actually striking the iron node itself, otherwise you won't be able to harvest it. To make yourself metal armor, again, it is a banana leaf, the 3 pieces of metal armor cast, and 2 ropes. Combine them, and there you have it. Put it on, go to the inspect screen, go to an empty limb, click and drag, and you are ready to go. Crafting the metal axe, very simple again. The axe head, stick, rope. There's your metal axe. Put all this together and you guys are going to be in top shape and ready to take on the jungle and anything it throws at you. Again, I hope you guys learned something. Thanks for tuning in and have fun.